We got a great show lined up for you. Speaking of the Bellevue University Bruins, their head soccer coach on the men's side of things, Markeith Preston, will be in studio at 6:30. Scotty Scheffler is better than the Carolina Panthers, and we'll explain why at 6:15. At 7 o'clock, Buy or Sell has returned. Also, we'll open up. That's right. We'll take you away from the main bar, take you over into the corner. We'll talk a little bit of stick and puck tonight. Hockey Corners at 7:15.
You watch your mouth on live radio.
The NBA has reached its Final Four as well. We'll discuss both the Western and the Eastern Conference Finals, and we'll wrap up the show with our Papillion Sanitation Trash Take of the Night tonight. Dan Campen and Logan Mosley, John Schreiner, Jimmy Allen with you here tonight. 402-951-1620. So you can get a hold of the show. You can also reach us on socials at After Hours 1620 as well. It is officially list season, folks. We are 96 days away from the kickoff of college football, which means that's all we get to talk about.
That's
what
it.
ifs for the next 96 days. And ESPN has released all 136 college football quarterback rooms and what tier they appear in. Now, it's not what you would normally think. It's not like the best is at the top. These are different divisions. Dylan Raiola falls into tier number 6, and maybe even more specifically, the Nebraska quarterback room. And tier number 6 is called Second Time is the Charm. So everybody going into year 2. And these rooms include K-State, Texas A&M, NC State, and UCLA. Surprisingly enough, DJ Lagway of Florida is in tier 1B, hot right now. Florida, Miami, and Texas are all in those discussions. So the former 5-star DJ Lagway is being thrown into the same conversation as Arch Manning, which I find really, really interesting because it's not like Billy Napier is exactly off the hot seat in Gainesville yet either, by the way.
Also, Jimmy, you did not pronounce it right. It's so hot right now.
Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. I apologize. It is officially Hot Dan Summer as well. But it got me to thinking.
Summer. It's still spring.
Hot Girl Spring? Hot Dan Spring?
Yeah, Hot Dan Spring.
Hot Dan Spring. There you go. Wow, that's something that happened tonight that I didn't have. If you had Dan shimming on the YouTube, go ahead and punch in for the night shift and check that off your bingo card tonight. But it got me to thinking, what does Dylan Raiola in year 2 need to do to take one step forward that doesn't include shimmying? Because I think we should take that off the table for any other discussion going forward. But 2,819 yards, 67% completion rate, 13 touchdowns, and 11 picks. And he had the one pick against Illinois that was very debatable, an interception, probably wasn't on him. And there was a discussion at one point halfway through the season is that the only pick he's going to throw all year?
Yeah.
And then he throws 10 more on top of that. So for Dylan Raiola in year 2, to not have Dan's favorite term, a sophomore slump, but take a step forward and get on that trajectory that the greats have been on. Because when you're a 5-star caliber quarterback and a former number 1 overall player in your rankings at some point, that is indication of where you should go in the NFL draft, right? And if Dylan Raiola lives up to the hype, or more importantly, for Nebraska fans, exceeds the hype to be a first-round draft pick, what does year number 2 have to look like for him to be catapulted into that first-round discussion after his 3rd season? And for me, when you go out and you get an Isaiah Hunter, a guy that can take the top off the defense, you get a guy like Dane Key that can go over the middle. I think they've gotten him weapons around him. Don't get me wrong. Jamal Banks and Isaiah Nair were really good weapons and pieces a year ago. But the guys that they've gotten for Dylan Raiola this year feel a little bit more fit to help build on those numbers from a year ago. For me, this season, I think Dylan Raiola's got to throw at least 3,100 yards through the air. And listen, he's going to have more checkdowns this year. You're going to see him check the ball down a little bit more than he did a year ago, just because that's what Dana Holgerson's offense allows him to do. But I think he's got to put his guys in the best spaces to get yards after catch, and 3,100 yards has to be the minimum this season.
I don't necessarily think it's a yards number for me. It's the interception number.
Okay.
It's got to be under 10. You got to be under 10 picks.
I would even go lower than that, but yeah, I could hear you.
Because like if you look at the guys who are at the top of this list, right? When you look at all the guys that are in the 1A, Cade Klubnik, Garrett Nussmeier, John Mateer, like I don't understand Oklahoma at all, first of all, being in the top tier of this list. Penn State's Drew Aller and Lenora Sellers, which I don't think I'm ready to put Sellers in the top tier yet either.
Yeah, I think I have him as a 2nd or 3rd tier quarterback. I really do. Like from a standpoint of throwing the football anyway. Athletic wise, yeah, he's definitely tier 1. Throwing the football and converting 3rd and longs, I don't know if I'd put him anywhere near tier 1.
But it's the interception number. It's the turnovers that, like, if Dylan Raiola throws, I don't know, 3 fewer picks last year, does that make the difference in Nebraska winning an extra game? Maybe.
Probably win 2.
It could, right?
See, and for me, it's a different number. Like it's got to start with the yards from scrimmage, but it also has to be touchdowns inside the 20s. Like the thing that Dylan Raiola, what did we always see on all of his highlight film, all of his highlights from his freshman season, throwing the ball deep. Okay, that's great. You got a big arm. You got some guys that can run and catch up to the football. Can you throw it into a tight window when you have to win the game? And he got sacked a ton a year ago, and we've heard about his weight and the ability to scramble and all that. He got sacked 27 times last year. That's more than twice a game, by the way.
Yeah.
You've got to find a way to avoid that situation and not put the ball in harm's way. So it's with the interception thing, but you got to find a way to get out of sticky situations, win the pressure situations, and not turn the ball over. And I think all of that alludes to probably – and listen, I said 3,100 yards. That's only 300 more yards than he threw for a year ago, by the way.
Right. So Dylan Raiola was, like, as far as players who were qualified in the stats, near the bottom of the nation in number of interceptions. Joey Aguilar from App State threw the most with 14.
That's famously 3 more than 11. By the way.
Yeah. And then you – like, the guys who are – at the top of that list are like.
Where does Drew Aller finish on that list? How many interceptions did he throw a year ago?
Yeah, I'm pulling it
Probably
up.
got to be like 7, right?
I had this pulled up earlier, then I clicked out of the tab.
But I think the thing that we're going to see here is that
Drew Aller threw 8.
8. So it's like 11 to 8 doesn't seem like a whole lot, but it can literally be the difference between going 6-6 and 9-4 or 9-3.
Sure. And then you get Curtis Rourke, who had 29 touchdowns and 5 picks, right? And you have Luke Altmaier, who threw 22 touchdowns and 6 picks. Dylan Gabriel, 30 touchdowns, 6 picks. Like, the guys who are at the top of the conference, they're under 10. The only other...
Top of the nation, yeah.
Yeah, there are 3 guys who threw 11 picks in Big Ten last year. Dylan Raiola, Aiden Childs, Michigan State, Ethan Garbers, UCLA.
And listen, you got Nico coming into LA, so you're not going to have that problem this year. But and we'll try to keep you updated on the storm going on throughout the Omaha area tonight as well. We may have to kick coverage over to our friends at KETV if things get worse, but we'll keep you updated on what's going on right now. A little bit of calm skies in the Omaha metro area, it looks like, for the time being. 67 degrees outside, and we'll try to keep you up to date on everything going on in the surrounding areas as well. But yeah, I'm with you. And to me, this season, specifically to build into year 3 of Dylan Raiola and Dana Holgorsen in this offense, if Dana's still here, it's got to be about scoring touchdowns. Nebraska was just not very good at scoring touchdowns a year ago. And listen, it's not just all on Nebraska. It's not like the Big Ten defenses aren't trying. But to me, you've got to be able to put up points with this offense, this quarterback, and these weapons around him. Emmett Johnson's got to be better between the 20s and scoring touchdowns. Obviously, that wasn't his role a year ago. It's probably going to be this year to some degree. And if not, we've heard Matt Rule talk for 3 seasons now about getting that running back that can run for 50, 60, 70 yards and score a touchdown. That's not what Emmett Johnson was last year, and that's something I think he's got to be this year. At least 2 touchdowns over 30 yards. I don't think that's really unacceptable. Or
that's what you should be doing as a running back. Anyway.
As running back number 1, for sure.
So when I initially saw this list, and I saw that Raiola was in tier 6, my immediate thought was like, no way.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, for sure.
And then you start looking at it, and you're like, no, that's probably about right, honestly. Because then I start looking into the numbers, right? And the guy at Michigan State who we loved to hate on last year, Aiden Childs.
Yeah.
The
transfer in from Oregon State.
Same number of touchdowns, same number of interceptions as Dylan Raiola. He just had 400 less yards.
And both were freshmen.
Yep.
Childs was just a redshirt freshman. So, listen, I know we keep talking about year 3 under Matt Rule, year 3 under Matt Rule, year 3 under Matt Rule, but the way it's been in the past has been freshmen getting playing time and being experienced by year 3. I really think that everything you're going to see this year has to be a springboard into the following season into 26.
Absolutely. And for me, this has been the talking point forever with Nebraska football is the turnover number. You have to be positive in the turnover number.
And they haven't been, not yet.
And part of that was the number of interceptions Raiola threw down the stretch. That didn't help. He wasn't throwing them early, and they were positive in the turnover margin.
When they were 5-1 in the win column, and they were 1-5 down the stretch.
And then down the stretch,
those numbers probably correlate.
You start throwing more interceptions. You're taking the ball away at a similar rate that you were in the early part of the season, but you're giving it away more. That's got to be curbed. Like, you just cannot play winning football giving away that many turnovers. And that's the biggest change from year 1 to year 2 for me.
The other thing that I thought was really interesting about this list, because again, it was about quarterback rooms. They have Marcus Davila listed as the number 2 quarterback at Nebraska this year, not TJ Lateef. And again, this is all subject to ESPN putting out a list. But you also have Jalen Gramstead coming back for another year. I didn't really think too much about what quarterback number 2 is going to look like this year because you have what looks like a stable QB1. I'm going to be really intrigued when fall camp finishes and the dust settles who gets that spot and what the transfer portal looks like after that. Because listen, Marcus Davila transferred in from a Power 5 school. Yeah, it's Purdue, but like, I can't imagine that he's coming
Power
here to
asterisk.
Yeah, I can't imagine he's coming here not to at least be the number 2 guy. But listen, Jalen Gramstead came back for a reason, and Dylan Raiola requested to have him back also. So, listen, and TJ Lateef's a former Elite 11 4-star quarterback.
Yeah,
there's a lot to be shaken out in that second string.
Yeah, the competition for second string quarterback on this team is pretty interesting. There's a battle to be had there. I don't think like the odds on anyone unseating the number 1 are slim to none, and Slim just left town.
Yeah,
but,
absolutely.
But
listen, an injury can happen.
Yeah,
even in fall camp.
But the battle for 2 is going to be something to watch.
Speaking of number 1, the world's number 1 put another one in the win column over the weekend. We'll talk the links. We'll get to Dan's favorite subject on the other side of the break. If you missed the opening segment tonight, check it out at SoundCloud.com/after-hours1620 is brought to you by Allo Fiber. Allo goes beyond internet, bringing fast, reliable speeds with an all-fiber network. And Allo goes beyond customer service with local teammates. That's right. When you head over to allofiber.com, you're going to get a live local person right here in Nebraska to set up your new services. Check out allofiber.com for more details tonight. Scotty Scheffler wins the PGA and avoids jail time when we come back. 1620 is up.
Hey everybody, John Schreiner here for Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Today, not a good golf day, but if you're like Dan Campen, what do you do on days when you can't golf? You plan your outfit for the next time you can. That's right. Get yourself to 78th and Dodge and plan your next golf outfit. Be like Dan Campen and go in and tell the boys at Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear, John, Dan, Jake, tell them we sent you to get your golf gear right. They have the Roan golf polos. They feel great. They look great. You're going to look like $1 million, even if you don't play like $1 million when you step to the first tee and the boys are going to say, hey, where'd you get that great polo? You can tell them 78th and Dodge, Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Tell them that they've also been dressing Omaha for over 50 years. And then tell them After Hours sent you.
19 on a Tuesday night edition of the After Hours Lounge, brought to you by Bellevue University. Head over to bellevue.edu, register for classes, and become a Bruin tonight. You know what the Bruins do? They just turn out championships after championship after championship. Kind of like Scotty Scheffler. He wins the PGA championship. And we were having a discussion on Thursday about who could win this event. And in this discussion, while we were having it,
you said Scotty Scheffler was washed.
Scotty Scheffler was tied for 20th place. On Thursday, he battles all the way back after a really rough day one. Missed a couple of putts, which is usually what he's the best in the world at. He had a couple of sand trap shots that he had to chip up as well. Lived in the sand for a couple holes on day one. And all he did was just finish out about as immaculately as you possibly could to win another one. Scotty Scheffler has won 14 championships in 4 years. The Carolina Panthers have won 14 football games in that amount of time as well. Scotty Scheffler has as many championship golf tournament wins as an NFL franchise has wins in the same span.
In the same state.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. But yeah, so by the way, the reason this even came about was this was tweeted out by Nike, who I don't know if you guys saw the tweet that later.
That was tweeted out by the PGA Tour.
Well, hold on. It was based off the Nike tweet. So he wins. He wins the tournament, and they tweet out "Best in the world, guilty." Yeah, people forget that Scotty Scheffler got arrested at the PGA Championship.
I don't think anyone forgot.
Nike certainly does not. And then the PGA Tour retweeted that and also included how many games that the Carolina Panthers have won since then. The PGA Tournament Championship famously played in Charlotte, where the Carolina Panthers play their football as well. Dave Tepper is a member of the country club in which the tour is, or the championship is played at as well. So there's a lot of rich pettiness going on.
His house is
on the golf course. Yeah. There might be a few people upset by that, but listen, you fix that Panthers and Dave Tepper, you win football games.
Yeah.
You don't pass on generational talent like CJ Stroud at quarterback either. That might not hurt. It might help your causes. Dan, what did you think of Scotty Scheffler's performance?
I loved it. It was so. The way you talk about golf sometimes, Jimmy, makes me want to roll, because he did not win this on Sunday. He played perfectly fine, even par golf on Sunday, and everyone else lost it for him.
Yeah, that's a fair.
Everyone else lost around him. John Rahm, at one point in time, had the opportunity to win this golf tournament and just pooed down his leg and didn't come up swinging whatsoever. Scotty Scheffler won this one in round number 3. He carded a 6 under par that day, and after that day I was like, no one's catching him.
Not when he's putting like that.
I was like, that's the guy.
He had that chip in from what was it, like 27 feet out, where he just laid it up and rolled in perfectly without even hesitating. That was the difference between day 1 and day 2 or day 3, for him. Was day 1 he missed that one slightly to the left, and you could hear him and his caddy having the conversation. What was that wide? Did we just pull it or whatever? And then day 3, everything was falling for him. Yeah,
that 14th hole on day 3 where he slammed his, I guess it would have been probably a 7 wood, maybe a 9 wood, 304 yards right onto the green, and it sits super pretty, like 4 feet away from the hole. When he pulled off that albatross, I was like, yeah,
he's real good. He's real good.
I was like, that's smiling. Also, I have to give him like a funny little shout out, because you two, as dads, will know this. Sometimes you have something very important that you have to do, and you just need to distract the little one for like 2 minutes to get something done. He's got Bennett in his arms while he's walking in to the official scorer's room. He takes off the cover off of his scorecard and takes off his hat, just throws him down in front of Bennett, and is like, just play with these for 2 minutes. Daddy has to sign his scorecard and get a big old trophy.
Yeah, and a big old check while he's at it.
It was only 3.4 mil.
Yeah.
Chump change.
Sorry for your struggles, Scheffler family. Hopefully you can get through a tough 2025.
Tough life for Scotty, being a stay-at-home dad and all.
My pick to watch to come back, he just kind of hung out in the same spot of the leaderboard the whole weekend. I thought Matt Fitzpatrick had a chance to make a run after his first round 68. He had a second round 68 and then just 72, and that's all he could manage. So I was off on that one. I don't know. I didn't necessarily think that Scotty would fly up the board the way he did, but man, that third round, he was just on it.
We're going to talk a little bit of soccer with the head coach of the Bellevue Bruins men's soccer team, Markeith Preston, on the other side of the break. But we want to give a quick congratulations to the local teams that are winning state championships. Lincoln, was it South? Yeah, Southwest brings home the state championship in Class A for girls, and Gretna East brings home the state championship in girls for Class
Second in a row.
B, 2 in a row for the Griffins.
Sonora DeFeeny's an animal.
Yeah, they are. Listen, can you imagine how good Gretna would have been if they wouldn't have tore that school in two? I mean, they would have been unstoppable.
That producer on Wednesday night is not going to shut up about that one, is he?
And listen, we're actually going to try to get the Griffins in on Wednesday night as well, and looks like we're going to get the Lincoln Southwest girls in tomorrow as well. So talking state championships, we're talking Bellevue soccer on the other side of the break. If you missed our thoughts and want to tell me why I don't know anything about golf like Dan Capitan just did, do it at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by our friends at Cunningham's Pub. You know what? Listen, stop down to the Blackstone District. You just missed happy hour. Doesn't mean you can't have a happy, good time at Blackstone and at the Cunningham's location. Stop down, try our personal favorite. It's the smoked wings. You know they're the best in Omaha, the 4-alarm. It's not too spicy, but it'll give you enough kick that you can enjoy your evening. Also, try the blueberry sriracha. It's our personal favorite here on the show. Find your personal favorite at Cunningham's tonight. We'll be right back. Catch up with Markeith Preston, the head Bruin himself, on the other side of the break. 16:20 the zone.
So you think you'll take another piece of me?
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Bob at Williams Law. You know, we're getting down to the end of the school year, and the kids are going to be wild and free. And if your kid got a little bit too wild at the end of the school year and finds themselves in a little bit of legal trouble and you're not sure which way to take it, why don't you get a hold of Bob? He can walk you through the process, give you an explanation of all your rights and how he can represent you or your loved one on their day in court. Don't let legal troubles weigh you down. Get those questions off your mind. Give them to Bob at Williams Law. Check out williamslawllc.com for your free, no obligation legal consultation.
6:30 on a Monday night here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to your smartphone to keep up on the championship action happening on Bellevue's campus this spring. Speaking of the Bellevue Bruins, their head men's soccer coach, Markeith Preston, the proud new owner of a new office and a brand new facility, now joins us here on After Hours. Coach, thanks for bringing some time, getting some time for us tonight. Let's take a look back at 2024 for a second. You guys make it all the way to the quarterfinals of the national tournament. Why were you guys able to go on that run late in December?
Good question. I mean, we had a lot of the same players as we had the year before, who obviously got to that stage. And so it was more so kind of picking up where we left off. You know, we had some big moments in that 2023 season, and I think the motivation was obviously there for all of them. We were a bit disappointed to lose in the quarterfinals in 23, and to get back there is really, really difficult. I know, obviously, just getting back to the same stage as the year before sometimes might not look so much of a improvement, but to continue to win those games, those playoff games, one and done, is a difficult thing to do. So I think those boys looking back will be proud to get there 2 years in a row. Yep.
This time of year, we got the state championships going on for high school kids. I'm sure you guys are out there paying attention, doing the recruiting. Yep. What kind of emphasis are you putting on watching the players specifically from the state of Nebraska at this time of year?
I mean, well, what I would say is, I mean, I haven't been to a lot of state tournaments in other states, but if you've been down at Morrison Stadium,
pretty good.
I mean, tomorrow night's game is going to be unbelievable. I mean, West Side and Omaha South.
Yeah.
The fans that are going to be out there. You just
could be a sellout.
You just don't see that. You don't see that at any college games. You sometimes don't see that at professional games. But I think the environment that they set down there and some of the special moments that happen is fantastic.
I want to talk about some of the pieces you got to replace. Yeah. You're replacing Tariq Genga, who is a big part of what you guys did last year. One of the best legs I've ever seen out of the box. I mean, he's incredible. How do you replace that level of productivity?
Well, we've got Caden Simpson, who's been with us for the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Obviously trained really, really hard, and he's of a really good level right now. But of course, we have to be competitive, and we have to make sure we bring in competition in all spots. So we've got Neosho, Division 2 JUCO, Iowa Lakes, where we bought Tariq from. We got their goalkeeper. They were runners up at the national tournament last year. Guy out of Scotland. He's got 3 years of eligibility left, so he's going to come in with us. He's been to a national final, and we're excited to have him in.
What are some of the characteristics you're looking for when you're getting those transfer players specifically? I mean, I think it's probably easy to target the kids out of high school and see those characteristics you're looking for. Maybe a little more difficult when you're looking at transfers.
To be honest with you, we really try and make sure that we see all of our transfers, that they either come in and have a tryout with us at some point, or we're able to go out and watch them live. And for the most part, we've done that with all of our players so far. I mean, some of the players we have are JUCO transfers, some of them are NAIA transfers, so we know that they understand the level of the competition.
Yeah.
We jokingly were talking about your new office, but it's in the beautiful new Bellevue clubhouse or field house, excuse me, down there on campus. How much has that facility helped you with recruiting?
I mean, for us personally, I mean, the weight room is amazing. Yeah. It's fantastic. But I wouldn't say we see a massive difference in that, because as of right now, we're still playing off campus. We're still, renting fields and so on. So that stuff hasn't changed. Hopefully that, in the coming months, that changes. And everyone has been really positive, and our president and our AD have been really positive and supportive.
You don't have to say nice things about Edley Hill. It's not a necessity.
About moving that stuff forward. So hopefully next time I'm speaking to you guys on here, we're
have an announcement or two.
We're playing at our own place.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
79 days away to the start of the season. What does this team have to get better at throughout the summer before you guys kick off that opening game?
I don't think there's anything we can do over the summer.
Sure.
I think we've got some good players that are coming in. We've got some good returning players. We have plenty of time in preseason. We just have to get in and get after it and figure it out. There'll be a few bumps always, but that's what happens when a bunch of new guys come together.
What's your favorite part of the off season?
Other than the vacation time?
I don't think there is an off season. There is no. If you want to try and continue to be successful, there's always something to do.
Sure.
So. I'll probably go away to the lake for Memorial Day and 4th of July, and apart from that, there'll be something to do in the office.
I want to talk about the campus life at Bellevue for a second, because whether it be Dave Denley or Dwayne Monlix or whoever. There's just been the constant discussion about more life on campus, and maybe it's a little bit different because, as you mentioned, you guys play off campus. But
Yep.
what have the men's soccer players at Bellevue University talked about as a positive as the on campus life at Bellevue, or some of the successful stuff that they've done on campus that they like about the school?
Well, I think the fact that we have the new facility, which is now a central hub for all the athletes and all the sports. So
Right.
all of us coaches are now within a 25-yard radius of each other.
Sure.
So I think that automatically is going to help. Before, we've been in different facilities, different gyms, different locations. I mean, we still are now for practices, but everyone's in the same weight room, everyone's in the same training room, and that's only going to help the culture, the environment.
Well, Coach, we'll let you get out of here and try to beat the weather out. That's the head coach of the men's soccer program at Bellevue University, Mark Keith Preston. If you missed his segment tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/after hours 1620. It was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. The temperatures are rising outside. Don't let them rise inside. You need to get a maintenance appointment set up on your HVAC unit, whether it be your AC to make sure it's ready for the summer months, or to make sure that your heater didn't take too much of a toll on your house this fall. Check out controlledcomfort.com and set up the maintenance appointment. They're going to come out. They're going to go ahead and get your furnace filter replaced, take a look at your AC, and make sure it's ready for the summer. Check out controlledcomfort.com for more details tonight. We're going to find out what's trending on social media on the other side of the break. 1620 in the zone.
You keep your butt cheeks toed. You be a five-star
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Paul Davis Restoration. If the storms tonight, as they roll through, cause you some problems, maybe you get a little moisture in the basement, you're worried about a crack in the foundation, any of that stuff happening to you, you know the number to call, 402-553-0373. Put your mind at ease. Don't worry about it. Paul Davis is going to come out, restore your home to the way it was before the damage happened. And if you're dealing with mold and you're worried about mitigating that, Paul Davis can help you out there too. 402-553-0373. That's the number to call. It's Paul Davis Restoration.
Don't wanna live as an untold story. Rather go out in a blaze of glory.
640 on a Monday night here on 6020 Zone, brought to you by Bellevue University. Download the BU Bruins app to your
Floral
smartphone.
pattern baldness.
I'm sitting right here.
That's the clue on
Wheel of Fortune. Oh, okay. Sorry, I thought you were just screaming things about me while I was standing here.
I solved the puzzle. Give me the money. I win.
I don't even know how to follow this up.
There is no follow-up.
It is. Well,
Just
that's
blow
good.
through.
That's it. Everybody have a great night. Let's going to put a wrap on the show. We are going to get to the social media soundbite right now, which is not Wheel of Fortune centric, but it is brought to you by Dan
Yet.
Kapanen. Do you want it to be Wheel of Fortune? I'd like your microphone to be on first.
You know what? Maybe I don't want the people to
We just
hear
had,
me
we just had a guest in. How's your microphone off? Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
because it's not a habit to turn mine on. Because sometimes I just don't feel like talking.
You want to start talking now, though?
Yeah, I had a witty quote, but let's just listen to the clip. We get it. Caitlin Clark fouled Angel Reese. It was a hard foul.
Was it, though? Was it?
It was a hard foul.
Hmm.
It was made to look like a hard foul.
It was an intentional foul. I don't know if it was a hard foul.
There are two ways of looking at it. Also, upgraded to a flagrant. Caitlin Clark was assessed a flagrant foul, or Aaliyah Boston was assessed a flagrant foul. There was some confusion
Because of what she said,
Yeah.
because you could hear her there in the background, but
There's,
I don't think that was a flagrant foul either.
there was some confusion about that after the game. Caitlin Clark allegedly said that she was going to pay Aaliyah Boston's fine for it being a flagrant foul. So that's fun.
Oh, does she have the money?
Allegedly.
Yeah.
You know, she doesn't let me see her bank statements every day, but I would assume that she's sitting pretty. But yeah, the whole nonsense that is Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese having beef, especially immediately after the game, both of them being like, it was a basketball play. Move on. One of you looked like it was a basketball play. The other person did not.
I was going to say
think
Angel
it was a
Reese.
basketball
Angel Reese
play.
did not say that. Can I take the approach I don't think I've heard anybody else take to this?
I would love to hear that.
Is Angel Reese maybe just the smartest person in the room? Is that a possibility? Because I mean, she's
Yes.
she goes out of her way
Yeah.
in these games to make these altercations happen, and she's very vocal in other games, yes, but she knows where the eyes of the product are also. And listen, there's a reason this has been talked about ad nauseum on every Talking Head show across the nation, because it draws the eyes and it moves the needle. And what is the WNBA in the middle of right now? A brand new collective bargaining agreement. I think this was, if it wasn't intentional, it's still an incredibly smart move. I think everybody that's ever watched a basketball game in their life saw that foul coming from a mile away, including Angel Reese. And I have no problem with the play Caitlin Clark made, but it really reminded me of Kobe Bryant when Caitlin Clark draws that foul and then walked away with, "Hey, I'm in your head and I'm going to walk away like the innocent party here, and you're going to have to deal with it. And I'm not going to respond to you or give you the time of day. And that's only going to make you mad, more mad, and get you off your kilter." Listen, I love this. I think they need to keep doing it every time they're on the court together. Keep it as civil as you possibly can while keeping the rivalry a real thing. If the WNBA and big time television networks are going to continue to tell us this is a rivalry and not let it go away, make it the best rivalry it can be. And things like this are going to continue to do that.
Yeah. Look, I don't discount that it's all pre-calculated and that she's a cold-hearted killer. Like I'm not discounting that at all. I just think the most likely scenario, like let's Occam's razor this, the simplest solution is usually the answer to the problem. Maybe they just really don't like each other.
Which is fine. By the way, that's fine. For we do this thing with women where they all have to be best friends. Like there's several sitcom episodes
I don't
based
know.
on this. Like there's an episode of Silicon Valley about this. There's an episode of Friends about this. There are several episodes where it's like, oh, all women they cannot like each other and it's fine.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's better for the sport. Rivalries draw ratings. You have a thought, Dan? You look like you're just waiting to cook.
No, I have like a million thoughts. They're all swimming through my head like people in a lap pool. So first off, I'm perfectly happy with this being a rivalry and staying a rivalry because yes, it drives the narrative. Yes, it will drive eyes. I love it for that. I love that even after the game, like for how heated Angel Reese was in the moment, she was like, it was just a hard foul. And that's all that needs to be. And that's all that needs to be said about it. And Caitlin Clark was like, are we unfamiliar with the idea of a take foul? Of the fact that I'm going to make her earn 2 shots at the line instead of just giving her a layup for fun, which we've all seen the compilations. Would have probably been a good idea too.
Yeah.
There's a chance with someone right in her face that Angel Reese is going to miss.
Yeah, she hasn't been great from close range since getting to the W.
But even more important, this is one thing that I want to get everyone to like stop doing. Do not ever in your right mind compare this to
Bird
Magic. I am so tired of the Bird and Magic. Let's make this into like a race war kind of thing that everyone seems to have with
that. That I'm there for.
There are serious implications being made about this that are irrational.
Yeah,
this has nothing to do with race and is nowhere near to the same level that Bird and Magic would have ever been.
I'm okay. Okay, because I'm glad that's where you went with this. Because I'm okay with their 2 generational personalities that are coming into the league at the same time, and in that sense, making it Bird versus Magic. Because listen, the way Bird and Magic played were completely different from each other. Also, right, and I think in the same sense, I think there's a lot of Bird Magic to this, but it's also not the late '80s either. And there's a lot of progression that has been made in society that it doesn't have to be black versus white, and doing that accomplishes nothing. By the way,
the one thing I do want to say to your point, Jimmy, was this idea of this being premeditated. Like this was the idea for Caitlin Clark or Angel Reese to like really push herself out there. I don't know if you've seen on TikTok or Instagram or anything like that, but people will clown on Angel Reese. That's a good question. What is a TikTok?
Well, no, I want to be clear when I say that too. Not in a sense of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese get together before games. It's like, hey, wouldn't it be great if we got some eyes on the product? If I run up and shove you. But if it's hey, I know how many people are watching this right now, and I know how many clicks this is going to get on ESPN, and I know where this is going to go if she fouls me and I get in her face at some point in this game. Probably going to help me sell a couple of NIL deals or whatever you what's the technical phrase in professional sports? Endorsements. Thank you. Couldn't think of the word. Appreciate it. But yeah, listen, it's going to, and that's the like. This has grown to such a thing that it's only a benefit to the both of and the sport for them to continue to do this. It's why we watch sports.
Just one comment on the race conversation, and then we'll leave it alone. You and I, Dan, Jimmy, Logan, we understand that it doesn't have to be a race issue.
We do.
There are plenty of people out there who don't.
More importantly, want to make it one
and want this to be a white versus black issue. And clearly the league doesn't want that. The players don't want that. But it's being forced upon them by stupid people.
Agreed.
And like, it is our job in the media to squash all that stuff, to put it to bed and not like give it any fuel for that fire, because it's a ridiculous conversation. They're professional athletes, for crying out loud.
There was like something on Twitter going around that people were like, couldn't believe that the Indiana Fever were cheering that Angel Reese missed a free throw. Have you never watched a basketball game and an opposing team misses a free throw? Like, it has nothing to do with the color of her skin. She's wearing the wrong jersey.
Especially with someone with like Angel Reese's personality that's so out there. It's the same thing with the Colorado game for Nebraska, how that entire stadium was lighting it up after Tommy Hill's pick 6 because of how outspoken that entire Colorado team is.
Well, it's not even that, right? I mean, this happens in every single sport. Like, think about Conor McGregor. Conor McGregor is loved by a certain demographic because of his outlandishness. He's hated by a certain demographic because of his outlandishness. Think about Dennis Rodman back in the day.
Yeah.
Like, this has been happening in sports forever. And it's okay to not like somebody based on their personality, which seems to be with the people that like Angel Reese or don't like Angel Reese. It's based on the way she presents herself, and that's it.
Well, and we've been talking about a player in hockey, Brad Marchand.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of people who love Brad Marchand. Me, as a Washington Capitals fan, can't stand any fiber of Brad Marchand's
And John,
body.
why
Like,
is that?
because he played for the Boston Bruins.
Yeah, like this seems to be something that we're making uniquely about women's sports. And I think a little bit of it has to do with the fact there hasn't been rivalries known on a national basis by large masses of people that have been followed in this league. There just hasn't been.
Well, and there's never been the one thing that the WNBA has never had is like number one, legit controversy.
Fair.
Where it's like there are people in this league who are wholly and unequivocally the most polarizing person that you're going to have.
Look, there's plenty
Whether-
of people who hate Caitlin Clark too.
Yeah,
fair.
Exactly.
Whether real or imagined, they've never had that. They've never truly had a star player on star player rivalry or beef. Yes, you can go back to Sue Bird, Brianna Stewart. Like there was a little bit there after she left.
Tell me about Shamika Holdsclaw, Dan.
Bird and Tarasi,
Yeah.
even though they were best friends.
But these were more respect-based rivalries, right? Where it was
Yeah.
it was like a almost an endearment of the other one, and it was like, oh, we get to see Tarasi and Bird tonight, and it was like never see what happens when a flagrant foul comes in from out of nowhere.
Yes, exactly.
Off the top rope.
Yeah, with a steel chair. If you missed the social media soundbite tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/after hours. 1620 was brought to you by our friends at Pixel Fire Marketing. If your company needs help with search engine optimization, maybe your website doesn't convert to mobile the way it should, pixelfiremarketing.com is here to help. They will ignite your social media presence, entice your ideal client, and engage your brand online. Check out pixelfiremarketing.com for more details today. On the other side of the break, are the Philadelphia Eagles cursed now? We'll tell you. 1620 zone.
People shouldn't change if they innocent. People act strange when it's getting out of breed.
Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for AX Plumbing. They're locally owned and operated, and they're going to leave your home or your business cleaner than they found it. That's right. You don't have to be like me and just have all these house problems. They'll come fix for you. You can be a business owner as well. I know somebody that they personally put a urinal, brand new urinal, into their facility. They didn't have to go out and do themselves. They got a professional plumber to come in and do it. Maybe you're having some issues around your house. You want to have long-term plumbing problems fixed. Do so at axpservice.com tonight.
to get out all alone and figure it out on my own. And I know what I really want now. Can't stop me, can't break it. But don't kill me, don't make me. Shoot for the stars.
Top of the second hour here on 1620 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. You know, become the number one roofer in Omaha for over a decade by accident. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Book a free estimate for your windows, your roof, your gutters, your siding. They can do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com. Get a free estimate. Tonight, Logan Mosley is in the shotgun seat now for the second hour and has buy or sell for us. Logan, we got for question number 1.
All right, our first question. Saquon Barkley is on the cover of Madden, and Nick Sirianni just got a multi-year extension. Buy or sell? Eagles miss the playoffs next year.
Listen, the Madden curse is in full effect. They gave their coach an extension. This is the kiss of death. The Eagles are going to be fourth place behind the Commanders, the Giants, and the Cowboys in the NFC East. No, absolutely not. They're the best.
I was like, that's a big ticket.
They're the best roster in football.
The Cowboys.
Even if Saquon goes down, I think they're going to be fine. I think Nick Sirianni's proven that he could be a Super Bowl level coach without a superstar staff around him. They're the best roster in football. On top of that, now Dan Campbell, we've got a little bit of controversy with your Packers and a certain play call. We'll get to that in a minute. But buy or sell?
Yay.
Sell. As much as I wish I could be a superstitious ding dong, because the Commanders need all the help they can get to beat the Eagles in their supreme roster. Like, no, come on. This was never a real thing. The Eagles are probably the odds-on favorite to win the Super Bowl again.
Yeah, they've got the best roster by far. Logan, you got a question about the tush push?
Yeah, well, the Packers they put in a request to ban the tush push. Is that going to be a big effect for the Eagles, I guess, is the big question. As it stands right now, tush push still there. But if a player gets caught pulling or pushing a player to either get the first down or a touchdown or something along the lines of that, it's a 10-yard penalty. How big is this actually going to be for the Eagles, you think?
Dan?
They didn't invite me to the owners' meeting.
Defend your
boys.
boys.
That is terrible for myself. No, this did not come
Sounds
out
like you need
in
to buy
the
some more
shareholders
shares.
meeting whatsoever. Like, ridiculous that this would even happen. I will support the Packers blindly and militaristically as hard as I possibly can, but I cannot get behind this.
I don't understand.
Banning the tush push is just the dumbest thing. And I will agree with what Matt LaFleur said on Bussin' with the Boys
Your boy.
and what Saquon Barkley has said extremely publicly. We need to figure out a way to guard it. And what Saquon said, just find a way to guard it and to beat it. Even though John's team couldn't find a way to beat it, and they almost got an automatic touchdown out of that deal. So
I don't understand why everybody thinks this is such an advantage for the Eagles, because everybody has the ability to do the same exact thing.
You could put any 260, 270, 300 plus pound defensive tackle or defensive end and line them in that same formation and get very similar to the same
Ravens
result.
have a 300-pound fullback.
Exactly. If you want to get real technical, the Bucks have that one kid from Florida who's 422
pounds.
Yeah. Imagine him or Vita Vea coming right up through the A gap. Like, you're not stopping that. There are ways around this. Nobody else has actually decided, let's do it.
Like, what happens if somebody gets really good at just throwing 40-yard bombs? Do we start banning passes over 20 yards?
Well, so here's my point. So we're going back to the old rule of no aiding the runner.
Here we go.
Like, is that what we're doing?
NFC
Because
East
you remember the rules of football, how they used to be?
Yeah,
where you were not allowed to advance the person holding the ball by pushing them?
People in South Bend have some thoughts on this.
That was the original rule, as
But
far
it
as
made
I remember.
But it made no sense then. Doesn't make sense now.
What
What
all
is the
I'm
difference
saying is,
between
like,
blocking for a guy and pushing him forward? What is the difference?
we do this all the time with the rules of football, where one team finds a way to gain an advantage by playing within the rules, and everybody else goes, "Oh, but that's we can't. How do we like play the game, man? Stop changing the rules."
See, and I think like where we saw them change the jet sweep motion where you couldn't hand the ball off in front of the quarterback, I think that does give it a distinct advantage to some teams because it's a design of the play. This is just, hey, we're stronger than you. Like, okay, be stronger, get bigger guys. Like, it's I think you're taking a portion of the game and just taking it out for literally no reason.
Yeah, and look, if we had never changed the aiding the runner rule, then this wouldn't be a problem.
Right.
if we hadn't had a massive response to, like, I don't even know why in the end that rule was changed.
The
but
Bush push,
like
specifically.
and then it became legal.
Yeah.
Like, so we've made it legal and now everyone's mad that it's legal. Like, I don't get it. Like, stop fiddling with the rules and just play the game.
It's just funny to me because, to Logan's point, Derrick Henry, easy option for this play. Josh Jacobs of the Packers, great option for this play. Literally the same exact size as Saquon Barkley.
And this play is being run
Could
with
easily
Jalen
run.
Hurts too. Not even like majority
Well,
Saquon
he's saying
Barkley.
as the pusher.
As the pusher.
Oh yeah, as the pusher, but still.
And I understand banning it from a protection standpoint of being like, well, someone could get hurt. Jalen Hurts has run this play like every
lot.
single time that they've had 4th and 1. And remind me again when he was last injured.
Yeah, he's been able to play.
Oh
a lot.
yeah, college.
It kind of feels like the only reason they would actually ban this is because it's not sexy. Right? Like this is the opposite of what the league has built its image in.
Because the Eagles are
Throwing
too
passes-
good at it.
Well, not even that. Throwing passes downfield, offensive points, drive attention. Like that feels like that's the only reason to ban this.
Do you
One
think
thing
that
I
this
want
is Jordan Mailata's brainchild too. That he just came in and was like, "Oi, fellas, got this thing in New Zealand footy where we run the scrum.
That's
I
not
think-
the scrum. It's the maul, Dan.
I think we could run the scrum."
It's not a scrum. It's a maul.
One thing I do want to say is how has this not been brought to the college game yet? Like
Well, I mean,
the idea, this tush push
well,
idea.
the reason it works so
Don't
well.
test me on rugby.
Well, the reason that it works so well is because you have this elite offensive line, and let's call it what it is. I mean, the Eagles have drafted correctly, but they've also kind of caught lightning in a bottle also, where
Sure.
you replace a guy with Jason Kelsey and Cam Jurgens comes in, you don't really miss a beat, and this offensive line just keeps humming. Like, say what you want about Saquon.
The Giants get real dumb and let Saquon Barkley go for nothing.
Exactly. But I mean, yes, you've got Jalen Hurts, you've got Saquon Barkley, and they're a big part of it. But that offensive line is the biggest reason this works, and it's
Sure.
not even close.
Yeah.
What do we got for number 2, Logan?
Number 2, I know you're going to love this one here. The
No.
49ers have paid Brock Purdy 5 years, $265 million, with $181 million guaranteed for the former Mr. Irrelevant buy or sell. This closes the 49ers Super Bowl window. One thing to note, they also just extended Fred Warner.
Yeah, so this is not the reason that the 49ers Super Bowl window is closing, but it definitely is. I mean, they are replacing so much on that defensive side of the ball because of this.
Thanks for Debo Samuel.
You're well, and also not to mention they're losing some of their major weapons, and Christian McCaffrey is another year older and another year more injured. There's a lot of reasons, but I think the window of the last 2 Super Bowls has been officially closed, and this is probably the exclamation point on it.
Yeah, it's so hard to win a Super Bowl now with a quarterback who's not on his rookie deal. You've heard me bang this drum a bunch. You have to just be so elite everywhere if you're going to win a Super Bowl.
Case
and
in point, the Philadelphia Eagles.
it becomes really hard once you have to pay that quarterback the big dollars.
Yeah.
Like the roster construction, the math doesn't math anymore, and you're forced to get rid of pieces that helped you get to where you were. And look, I'm not going to say that it's closed, but boy, they got some work to do.
Logan, you're going to learn this about me. I love me some Fred Warner, by the way.
I can only assume.
He's a dude.
I don't think it's closed. Shanahan is still a wizard behind the pegs.
Him and John Lynch. The only reason I'm not willing to say it's officially shut,
Yeah.
but it's
And
pretty close.
Lynch knows how to work a draft pretty good, so I would
Unless he's
assume that
drafting Trey Lance.
they'll be able to find some pieces
Good
here
job there.
eventually. And as far as like just the monetary value of that Purdy contract,
A nut finds a blind squirrel every once in a while.
dude, that is 100% a time served contract. They said, hey, we basically found you with a torn UCL at the end of the season and said, I think you can win us some football. And he said,
After
Yeah.
drafting the quarterback with the 3rd overall pick that you traded up for in the same draft.
I
Logan,
can.
what's number 3?
ACC conference generated $711 million in revenue stream in 2023. This year, before adding SMU and the West Coast schools, the ACC has implemented the revenue distribution model that gives success initiatives. Today, Jim Phillips said that he hopes this model will work for the next 3 to 4 years and that college athletics needs to, quote unquote, slow down. Buy or sell, Jim Phillips just accidentally gave us the frame on super conferences.
I mean, really weird that he threw that time frame in there, right? Like, it's why 3 to 4 years, Jim? Is there something you're not telling us by telling us this?
Well, one thing I think should be noted is a lot of contracts are coming up around this 3 to 4 year mark, not the Big Ten.
And not the
The
ACC, and not the ACC, more
Yeah.
importantly. So there's a reason that he's hoping this lasts 3 to 4 years, and they've kind of thrown out a couple life rafts and got SMU and Cal and Stanford to join the league. Obviously, Florida State and Miami have shown their interest, and to some degree, Clemson in leaving. I think there's something to be said about him saying this with kind of unprompted and just giving this time frame.
Yeah, $45 million per school is a pretty good distribution for the ACC. I mean, that's a good number. They did pretty well through this contract year. But look, these guys speak out of their ear so often. Like,
Sure.
you never know whether it actually means anything or not. I don't think we should read too much into this. I don't like. Maybe maybe there's a
No,
super
John,
conference
no
thing
conspiracy
happening. Yeah,
theory.
no
Oh.
conspiracies. That's what I do. Maybe it happens, but like I don't know. I don't put too much on it.
Let's earmark this day, May 19th, 2025. What happens May 19th, 2028?
The death of college football. I don't know.
Well, if you've been listening, Dan, it's already dead. So
Yeah.
Thanks for joining the show.
I'm pretty okay with just assuming that Jim Phillips is just trying to throw himself a life raft to say, give me 3 to 4 more years of my contract too, guys.
Yeah, this will work. I promise.
Let me stick around. I promise everything will be okay.
The one thing I was thinking about in my car in the parking lot when you sent me the questions for
Hot
today's
chicks.
buy or sell, I thought to myself,
Pepper Jack's Grill.
yes, Pepper Jack's Builder, best place to get any lunch that you want.
There you go.
Hey,
What a company, man. Logan, you're going to fit in here.
all right. Actually, what I was thinking about though is think about all the times that we've had super leagues try and be formed in European football, and it never works because the fans hate it. I
Thoughts?
do feel like that will be the same thing that happens here, where they try and do the super conference for a year or two, and they're going to realize people are watching the games, but that's about it.
Was this before or after you were scrolling through Sydney Sweeney's Instagram?
I don't follow her.
Here's where I'll push back a little bit, Logan. The super leagues that were trying to be formed in European soccer were all established leagues
Right.
from
Yeah.
different countries. We're talking about one organization with separate unifying bodies.
But he's got a point there. There are going to be people that hate this.
The
If it
fans-
I
doesn't-
will be one of those people
Yeah.
that hate
The
this.
fans may hate it, but the dollars are going to speak to the people in power. And if they want it to happen, it'll happen.
Unfortunately.
Number 4?
Number 4, Shedeur Sanders has signed his rookie contract with the Browns. Per Jordan Schultz, a Bleacher Report, it's 4 years, $4.6 million with a $400,000 signing bonus. Buy or sell, the Browns got value out of Shedeur Sanders.
I think it's got to be an absolute buy. This is a guy that a lot of people thought was maybe going in the top 10 of the NFL draft. At one point, he falls all the way to in the later rounds, and you get him on this low of a rookie deal. I mean, even if it doesn't work out, it's not like you're losing that much in this deal.
I mean, they did trade up to get him, which
One spot.
One spot. You know, I personally don't get the trade when you have Dylan Gabriel on your roster. It's good value. He's the best player available in the 5th round.
It wasn't even that you had Dylan Gabriel on your roster. You also have Joe Flacco and Deshaun Watson,
Kenny
and
Pickett.
Yeah.
All the fun guys.
I don't know that it's great value. I just, looked up the average contract for a 5th round pick, and it's according to DraftKings, the average 5th round pick will sign a contract worth approximately $4.224 million and receive a signing bonus of approximately $384,000. So pretty average contract
Right.
for a 5th round pick, honestly.
But for a guy that was projected to be a first round
Right.
value,
And there's some discrepancy on where the DraftNix projected him and where NFL teams projected him. So, I mean, I don't know that we can say it's certainly a great value.
he's had some pretty great throws throughout his start of his rookie camp, though.
But if we're just looking at the raw numbers, average.
I think it's fine.
It's good.
I buy on the fact that like $4.4 million and a $400,000 signing bonus is an A-okay.
That's almost what you make for this radio show.
Yeah, it's getting
Close.
close.
My signing bonus is better.
I'm still, the iced out Rolex is coming in the mail next week, so don't worry.
Some would say it would be perfect timing.
It would be perfect timing.
Hey,
Logan,
you can't put a price on free wings from Cunningham.
fair enough.
But I will say, I think it's a good value for just a
You
guy
guys are
that
earning your paychecks tonight.
right now you can just hit pocket him.
For sure.
J-Man on YouTube says 400K for Shadur. Definitely a pay cut from 2024. 1,000%.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
All right, our final question. Nebraska softball is off to the Super Regionals playing Tennessee. Buy or sell, this Husker squad can get to Norman and the Women's College World Series. First of all, foremost, shout out Jordy Ball. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, she had a monster weekend. She went 5 for 5 in the regional, 4 home runs, and 4 runs, or in 8 runs scored, 7 RBI. She also, I don't know if you know this, also pitches for the Huskers. 12 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 earned run, struck out 16. She could be the first player ever in college softball history with 25 wins in the circle with 25 home runs also.
Yeah, she's already got that 2020 mark, which is insane. I believe like the 5th person to ever do that in college history.
I hope she comes back from that ACL tear.
Just give me 9 Jordy Balls. We'll win a title.
Yeah, you might only need one. But no, I buy. I think they make it all the way to the College World Series.
Yeah, they can. Tennessee's tough, but they certainly could.
I mean, Nebraska has played some pretty good competition over the stretch
How about
too.
Ronda Revelle though, from being suspended in was it 19, right? With the lawsuit that came in,
Looked like she might lose her job.
Yeah, and keeps her job, loses Jordy Ball to
ACL tear, first game of the season.
No, not even that. I'm talking about the recruiting cycle to Oklahoma, and then gets her back, and then now they're in this situation. It's almost a full circle moment for Ronda Revelle and that team.
I buy 100%. I think they can make the College World Series. As long as Jordy Ball stays up and doesn't gas out, this team is going to go as far as they want to go this year.
She is the closest I've ever seen to unhittable in softball, and nobody can figure her out.
Yeah,
like if you come at her more aggressively, she just drops the pitch. If you try to stay behind the count, she just gasses it. It's a thing of beauty to watch. If you missed Buy or Sell tonight, check it out at SoundCloud.com/AfterHours1620. It was brought to you by Controlled Comfort Heating and Air. You looking for a new job? Are you an experienced HVAC member? Are you not? Do you want a new career? Check out ControlledComfort.com tonight. They're looking for experienced and new members to their staff. If you're looking for your forever career, check out ControlledComfort.com tonight and start your HVAC journey this evening. We'll be right back talking stick and puck, the other side of the break, 1620 zone. Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for Bob Williams with Williams Law. Listen, we all know that when it gets hotter outside, kids get outside and they make a few big mistakes. We've all been there. But if your son or daughter is facing some litigation, maybe they made too big of a mistake, and you're wondering what your legal rights are, we've got the answer for you. Head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight. Work with Bob and his team. They're going to give you a free, no-obligation legal consultation. That means they're going to walk you through the entire process, explain your son or daughter's rights, and get you ready for your big day in court. And if you're the right fit for Williams Law, and more importantly, they're the right fit for you and your family, Bob and his team would love to represent you. Head over to WilliamsLawLLC.com tonight and get a free, no-obligation legal consultation.
back to the After Hours Lounge. You know what time it is. It's time for the Hockey Corner, and it's brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. You don't become the best in Omaha for over a decade for no good reason. Check out pyramidroof.com to get your free estimate. All right.
I'm sad tonight.
Pull up your chair. Come over into the Hockey Corner. If you're sad,
Leave the bar.
like
the,
I am,
the waitresses will be with you over there.
you can bring your blankie. It's okay. Get you a cup of hot tea. We're here because all three of the teams that we picked to get to the Stanley Cup final are now eliminated, including my favored Washington Caps. So hold up a candle for the 2025 Washington Capitals.
I think
Their
we need
season
a-
came to an end.
Put up a candle for the entire country of Canada while
Well,
we're at it, by the way.
Edmonton's still got the inside track to win the thing. I
They
think.
do, but
Darn tootin'.
the Toronto Maple Leafs lose another Game 7.
Boy, those fans are not happy.
Like, we need to start putting the Toronto Maple Leafs fan base in the same category as like the 1990 Buffalo Bills fans.
Uh,
Like, maybe not quite a cup, but just they find a way to lose Game 7s.
yeah.
That's just all this franchise has been doing.
Yeah, and like I don't know what hurts more, right? Losing a game 7 in overtime or losing a game 7 6-1. Like when you just have no shot.
Oh, it's got to
I'd
be
say
in
6-1.
overtime. Yeah. Well, no, what hurts more?
Yeah.
Oh, no, you can just turn it off when you're not 3-0. You're good. Like, all right, well, there's no coming back here.
But just the punishment that Florida inflicted on Toronto last night was like it almost just like you just wanted to cringe every time Florida got the puck deep because it was like, oh,
here we
gosh,
go
something
again.
bad's gonna happen.
Yeah, they're just going to attack the net, and it's going
Yeah.
to go well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you got to feel for Leafs fans as they suffer the ultimate disappointment again. And Jimmy said the Jets were going to make a great comeback.
No. Hold your tongue. I said they were going to win Game 5, and they did.
You said they were coming back when they were down
Nah,
3-1.
that's probably true also. By coming back, I mean they're going to win one more.
Right. But the Stars get the 2-1 victory on Saturday, and they are now in the conference finals. So we have the conference finals set. Stars, Oilers. This is the matchup we were clamoring for, Dan.
Yes.
This one's going to be fun.
This is going to be the high flying, high energy action
Dude,
that you want to see out of a conference final.
and what do we talk about in the Stanley Cup playoffs every year? The team with the hot goaltender usually can make a run. That man is Cade Ottinger. Did you see that save that he made in the third period when he's scrambling around and flailing and somehow sticks his blocker out and gets in front of the wide open? I was almost jumping up and down on my couch when I saw that save. It was insane.
I was so jealous of the fact that a man who is on ice the way that he is has the kind of body control
Man,
and the headspace to go, I got to get any single part of my body up and in front of this hockey puck. And thank God he got his blocker up just in time to keep it out of the goal. It's just a thing of beauty.
Well,
yeah.
and it's surprising how much how well he played in the series after struggling against
Yeah.
Colorado too, right? Because
Yep.
I mean they had to make a couple goalie changes in that series, and he was struggling. But listen, that's kind of what the Avalanche do, right? They put pressure on the net.
Yeah, and the question, like Hellebuck struggled in the first round too. He got yanked a couple of times in that series with the Blues and didn't look great early on in the series with the Stars, but he was actually really good in the last 2 games of the series.
Yeah, he was. He was, yes.
Then on the other side, it's Panthers Hurricanes, and like as much as we think Stars Oilers is going to be fun, high flying, fast hockey, Panthers Hurricanes is going to be
Probably should bring
a
work.
backroom
Yeah.
brawl, like first one to
Put
a
your
goal
mouthpiece
and
in.
fewest
Yeah.
broken noses is going to
Yeah.
win the series. Like that, this is going to be an absolute rock fight of a
They're
series.
probably gonna have to reinforce the boards in both,
Dude.
in both
Yeah,
arenas.
you've got finesse and pure skating ability on one side. Then you've got the two teams who are like, you think if I hit him in the mouth, his teeth will fall out?
yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
There might be a requirement for each of the Eastern Conference final games that instead of doing a face-off, they just drop gloves at the beginning, and then whoever wins the fight gets the puck.
And like right now, if you ask me to project it, I think we get a rematch of last year's final. I think it's Oilers Panthers. we're doing this again.
Yeah, I think so too, but I think it goes the other way this time. It just kind of feels like it's Edmonton's year.
Yeah, they have, like, since going down 0-2 to the Kings,
We wrote them off.
they have won 8 of the next 9 hockey games.
Yeah.
And the way
They're
they,
on a
the way they
heater.
dominated Vegas was so impressive too.
Yeah.
I mean, like for a team that was kind of left for dead by a lot of people to go in and dominate Vegas, specifically on Vegas's ice, was impressive.
And closing that thing out early, they get to rest a little bit.
Yeah.
It just seems like Edmonton is on a path of destiny right now.
Well, and the fact that, especially for the Panthers on that other side of the bracket, getting dragged through a 5-game series and then getting dragged through a 7-game series, you wonder how well conditioned they're going to be. And we know, we've already alluded to it and said it outright multiple times. The way that they're going to win is putting bodies on bodies and just slamming and jamming. If Edmonton can get out of their series in 5 games or under, I would bet them in the finals more heavily than I would bet the Florida Panthers. But then again, the Florida Panthers have the cup already on their side.
They do.
Yep.
They know what Edmonton's play style looked like last year. And if we're being like really honest with ourselves and with everyone else that's around, haven't really changed that much in a year's time as far as
No.
like the style of how they're playing hockey. So Florida is going to do the same exact thing that they did last year if they make it to the Stanley Cup final and say, all right, all we have to do is key in on McDavid and Draisaitl on that line and just give them HE double hockey sticks. Just really
Literally
put our
and
bodies
figuratively.
into them and throw them off their game. Because if their game's off, then we've got a decent chance.
Yeah, I mean they have added a little bit, but not a ton. I mean, it's still Bouchard, Draisaitl. I mean, they added Evander Kane late on in the season, but I mean, Kane's 33, so he's a third line guy.
Yeah, he's like a locker room presence, like kind of get everyone into like, here's how you win a championship kind of mindset.
The surprise is Kasperi Kapanen, who kind of like was a floater in and out of the lineup, healthy scratch a bunch of times, but in that series with Vegas, he was skating really well. Looked like he was a key piece. And so it'll be interesting to see what the role for him is going forward.
Yeah, seeing how much Edmonton can throw into the fire and make come out kind of glass is always good. That's just kind of how they've been operating all year.
All right. We are into the conference finals. Pick to win it, Jimmy?
The finals, the whole thing.
Whole thing.
I think Edmonton wins it all. I think it's their year. I think Connor McJesus finally gets anointed.
Dan?
I would go with Edmonton.
Yeah, I think it's Edmonton too. But I'm with you. I think it depends a lot on series length. Like if the Panthers just dispatch the Hurricanes in 4
and
and then roll into the finals and have time to rest up and ice the bruises,
Yeah.
I don't know then. Like that's a very tough team, very experienced. It's going to be fun to watch.
Well, and I think Edmonton also has the best home ice advantage out of all 4 teams left.
Yeah, for sure.
That's going to matter.
Yeah.
Hey, if you missed John and Dan's Hockey Corner tonight, check it out at soundcloud.com/afterhours1620. It was brought to you by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sports. Sports or wedding season is upon us, despite what it looks like outside. If you need a tux or a suit for this wedding season, you need to stop by Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. They've got all of the options. They're going to give you the best fitting experience in the Midwest with Monier, the tailor, John, Dan, the crew are going to take care of you. Jake's going to make sure you get your big day taken care of. Whether it's you, your entire wedding party, or maybe you're just trying to look good at your brother-in-law's wedding, you could do it at Jerry Ryan Clothing and Sportswear. Stop by 78th and Dodge. They've been dressing Omaha for over 50 years. Not only are the Final Four in hockey set in the NBA as well. We're talking NBA playoffs. Let's have the break. 16-20 zone.
The dark, the dark, the dark. I am vision.
Hello, everybody. It's Dan Campanen here once again to let you know that number one, Pepper Jack's is great. They've got a steak gunner Philly. It's my favorite. Of course, I add all the vegetables to it. A little bit of that jalapeno juice to make it spicy. And you know what? Maybe if I'm feeling bad, I'll even ask for some extra cheese. Secondly, they've got new sides. My personal favorite, the cheese curds, always good, so Midwest. They remind me of home. By the way, my home is still Nebraska, where Pepper Jack's has 10 great local locations where I can go and get that exact order right now. So you want to be like me? Go and get you some Pepper Jacks tonight.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so
7:32 on a Monday night here on 62 The Zone, brought to you by Pyramid Roofing and Pyramid Contractors at pyramidroof.com. You never have to settle for less. Head over to pyramidroof.com. Get a free estimate for your windows, your roof, your gutters, your siding. They do it all. Check out pyramidroof.com tonight. The Final Four is also set in the NBA, which got done talking in the hockey corner.
Hold on. Is this now called Jimmy and Dan's basketball basement?
It might be. We might be moving down to the next level. But speaking of Dan, his Timberwolves have appeared in the Western Conference Finals against the number one seed Oklahoma City Thunder, who is playing as good as anybody in basketball right now. The Timberwolves, that is.
Not a huge fan of having to play the Thunder, by the way.
Yeah.
Just want to get that on record from the jump.
My hot take tonight, by the way, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is really good at basketball. I don't know if anybody's heard that or not.
Too many free throws.
But on the other side is the Pacers and the Knicks, and we're going back to 1998 for the Eastern Conference Finals this year. I think that series is going to probably be the series that goes longer But it really wouldn't surprise me if somehow both these series find a way to 7 games.
I just want to
Yeah.
take a look at the teams that are in the Final Four
Okay,
and think about where those teams were 10 years ago,
sure.
right? Timberwolves, Thunder, Pacers, Knicks, like 2 of the maddest fan bases for a long time that their teams sucked.
Because of the history they had, right? I mean,
Right.
You think about Reggie Miller and Patrick Ewing in the 90s and where they were the top upper echelon of the Eastern Conference. And then they lived in the basement where we're at right now for a very long time.
But I think it just goes to show you that in professional sports in the United States, with revenue sharing and the draft and competitive balance and all of those things, salary caps, your team is never that far away. It takes a good owner, a good coach, and a good draft, and you too can be relishing in the joys of your favorite team being good at basketball.
Or another franchise just making stupid decisions like
Right?
sending Jalen Brunson to your team. Still really happy that the
Yeah.
Mavericks did that.
Or trading away Kevin Love, Andrew Wiggins, eventually Ricky Rubio, and so many other pieces to actually draft Cat and then to actually draft Ant. And then I think this is the one overarching thing for this like NBA finals run for all 4 of these teams right now is that generally when we see a trade in professional sports, one player is still very good and very dominant, and the other player usually has either a fall off or is slightly more mediocre than the team that they used to play on.
Or Julius Randle gets healthy at the right time.
Yeah, or Cat
Yeah.
plays dominant all season for the Knicks, and then Julius Randle struggles with injury early, and then comes out and it's like, oh yeah, Julius Randle's actually very good at basketball
Yeah.
and can be utilized in a system where he does not need to be the big man.
Just wait till we get this, and I'm not going to say inevitable because it's not, but this Wolves Knicks potential championship series. I
Oh,
think
who's going to
that'd
be featured in that
really fun?
one? Yeah, what are going to be the talking points of that series? Listen,
Everything.
I still think the Pacers are going to be the team that pulls it off. It just feels like they're the team that's getting hot at the right time. Tyrese Halliburton is playing at a different level right now. These are the 4 most exciting teams left, in my opinion, with everything you just talked about with Ant and those guys in Minnesota. But obviously, the Knicks being able to host an Eastern Conference final at the Garden again will be a talking point in everything we just talked about, especially with the depth that they have. Getting Karl Anthony Towns on this roster, acquiring Jalen Brunson from Dallas, and just everything they've been able to put around their key pieces in New York, and then bring those guys in and really use them to get over the hump.
I just realized too that if we do get a Timberwolves Knicks final,
Yeah,
they're going to play that Wiz Khalifa, Charlie Puth, Villanova AT&T commercial 1,000 times.
that's way too low of a number. Way too low. I think the question needs to be asked: if the Knicks make it to the finals, does the Pope attend? It's a Villanova guy. A lot of Villanova guys on this roster.
Yeah, but he's a Chicago guy. There's no way that a Chicago guy would cheer for the Knicks.
He's got
Not a
such deep
chance.
ties to Nova, though. I mean, he has an honorary. If he has like
Maybe if
multiple
the
honorary
Six-
degrees,
Maybe the Sixers made.
He has a
made the
real
finals.
degree.
Yeah.
he's real and
He-
multiple honorary
he has
too.
a real degree from Villanova.
Uh,
I want to make
are
sure
the
that
Bulls
that-
in
Yes.
the finals? Then I'm not going.
Elbows.
Also, something that cannot be overlooked as well. All 4 of these teams that are have the chance to make it to the finals,
play basketball.
all 4 of them, this would be their first ring.
Yeah.
Which I
for
think
all
is
4 of these teams.
the most important part of this finals. Too
For
often
sure.
we're seeing with every single league, it feels like these repeat winners. You know, it was the Celtics and Mavs last year. 2 teams that have won it multiple times.
one not more recent.
Well, yeah,
well,
obviously on that part.
Well,
Not very
the,
recently for either of them.
Yeah, the Mavs only won one, by the way, not multiple times.
2011 and 08. It's
Yeah.
not-
But we're talking about 4 teams that have just straight up never won it. You don't. I feel like we don't see that often.
the fact that the
anymore in
Knicks have never
sports.
won an NBA title is truly
well,
amazing.
they have. They just haven't won an NBA title since the mid 60s.
Which is technically not this version of the NBA title.
Remember Phil Jackson?
Nope.
He won the NBA title with the New York Knicks.
How many which team? It has to be the Knicks. Like I was gonna say, who has to win it? It has to be like this. Feels like if we're talking about to reestablish your franchise as a legitimate blue chip franchise in the NBA. It has to be the
I
Knicks,
almost
right?
feel like it has to be the Thunder because otherwise,
I don't just because they're so young.
well, yeah, there's that young aspect, but they've got this entire program built on the one idea of let's just trade what we can, get all these picks in the world, and use them to create this good roster. I mean, we saw them dump Josh Giddey during the offseason last year. I don't see anything like that massive happening this offseason. Josh Giddey, hey, he's made a lot of 3-pointers for me on my parlays. So don't be disrespecting Josh Giddey like that.
Speaking of Chicago,
but what I'm saying with all of this is if the Thunder don't win, at least I think this is their best year to win it. If they don't win it in the next 2 to 3 years, do we call them the Sixers with the way that they both had similar roster ways of trying to build the roster?
no, because Philly kind of did it on purpose. OKC just kind of sucked after all their stars left. There's a little bit of a
That's
difference.
I mean, they traded their players. I mean, they traded Chris Paul, they
Sure.
traded Steven Adams. They've got these picks for a reason.
Well, they had Chris Paul on a quick loan.
right.
Kevin Durant,
As many teams did there after that.
Yeah. Kevin Durant said,
Bye.
"Peace.
Yeah,
I'm out of here."
Chili's closes at 9. I'm go- I'm
And
going to San
Russell
Francisco.
Westbrook literally said, "Gosh darn it! I've done everything
Yeah.
for you.
I averaged a
I
triple
made
double
all
when we
of the
missed the
triple
playoffs.
doubles.
Yeah.
Every single dang game."
I got one thought on the Pacers.
'Kay.
Chuck Person, Clark
That left
Kellogg,
shrimp.
Doug McDermott.
Those are all players that formerly played for the Indiana Pacers.
And I will agree with you though, Jimmy.
You should.
It means the most for Knicks fans. For Thunder fans, it would be a great light at the end of their tunnel to say, yes, we believed for a reason. We never thought this would happen again, and we believed. Good for us. For Pacers fans, it's going to mean finally we did it. We did it the right way through the draft and through smart free agency moves. And for Minnesota, if Logan knew how to use the dump button, I would use expletive Greg Taylor.
I mean, like,
That's
listen,
all it would mean.
But
If Greg Taylor, you can go and eat a shoe.
I mean, Minnesota fans could stop celebrating the Celtics NBA title for the KG won, gave them credit for it. So, I mean, there's always that.
Hey, Bob Boozer played for the Knicks.
It would be nice.
Yeah, anymore.
Wally Zerbian.
I got a whole list.
Hey, that was
Guys naming dudes?
that was the NBA basement segment. If
There's
you
a
missed
street named after him in Omaha.
it, check it out at soundcloud.com/after-hours-1620. It was brought to you by AX Plumbing, Home or Residential. They can do it all. Check out axpservice.com for all your plumbing, water heater, gas piping, or backflow prevention issues. AX Plumbing is locally owned and operated, and they will leave your home or business cleaner than they found it. Our Papillion Sanitation Trash takes of the night. The other side of the break, 1620 zone.
Don't try to fight the feeling.
Hey, everybody. John Schreiner here for Cunningham's Pub. You getting hungry about this time of night? Have you been to the Blackstone location for Cunningham's? Well, let me tell you about it. There's a parking garage right across the street now where you can park for 2 hours for free. Yes, you don't have to pay for parking, and there's plenty of it. So you can walk right across the street, grab yourself an order of the delicious smoked wings from Cunningham's. What could be better than that? Probably not staying in your house tonight. Well, maybe tonight, not a great idea. Use the DoorDash. Get the Cunningham's wings delivered. How about that? Get anything on the menu at Cunningham's because that's all great. If you walk in there, you're going to see the great tap takeovers that they have going on, all the great drinks, all the great food, the friendly staff, the great location right there in the heart of Blackstone. And pay attention on Wednesday when we give away the $25 gift card for the Wing Wednesday celebration. You don't want to miss it. Cunningham's Pub and Grill. Blackstone. Get there tonight.
We got there. Doesn't matter how you finish. Just matters that you do. It is the After Hours Lounge.
Is that what they say?
And it is closing time,
I don't know.
according to Logan Mosley.
Good job, Logan.
I hope it's closing time.
It is closing time, and the weather may have something to say about that on the way out, too. But this is the Papillion Sanitation Trash Take portion of the night. It's brought to you by Pyramid Contractors. Over a decade of being number one in Omaha. It doesn't happen by accident. Listen, if you're affected by the storms tonight, your roof, your windows, your gutters, your siding get damaged, you can get a free estimate at pyramidroof.com. Tonight, our Papillion Sanitation Trash Takes tonight. For those of you that are just joining us for the first time on After Hours, A, where have you been? And B, how this works is we're all going to give you one hot take to close the show out. We're going to put a poll up on Twitter. Whoever gets the most votes for their hot take will win the poll tonight. Whoever gets the fewest amount of votes will have the trashiest take of the evening. I'm going to go first. I just said this off air, which has completely pivoted my trash take for the evening. According to TalkingBaseball.com, the Pittsburgh Pirates and the Philadelphia Phillies have reportedly discussed a potential blockbuster trade that would send Bryce Harper to the Pirates. And this trade has been building momentum over the last 48 hours, according to Ken Rosenthal. I think this is absolutely a great idea, and I think this is something that needs to be done. Give me listen, there's a lot of people that are putting these out on parody accounts too. I think this is a real thing, and I think it's going to happen. Give me Bryce Harper in Pittsburgh. I think it's a great fit, and I think it's the right move. And I think Bryce Harper needs. I'll double down. Bryce Harper needs to move on and find somewhere else. And while the Phillies can, they need to get capital for him while he's there.
Yeah, it's interesting. A third team for Bryce Harper, huh?
Not the most likable guy.
It'd be a good addition for that squad. I mean, they have a good piece to build around.
I personally don't like the fit for Bryce Harper in Pittsburgh. At least, obviously they need bats. They need to help their pitching staff, and especially why am I Paul Skeens? They have to. You
can call him Livy's boyfriend.
I don't think that's the best fit for Bryce Harper. I could see maybe like a Twins or a Cubs or somebody else in one of those heated divisions that absolutely need to get a guy that can get his bat hot in the playoffs, like we've seen Bryce Harper do so many times. I just don't think the Pirates are the right fit because to me, they're not contending.
I like that take, Logan, simply just because you mentioned the Twins.
John Schreiner, trash take.
Jimmy,
it's me.
You often ask me, you say, John, why is the English FA Cup so good?
It is true. That's a conversation we have often.
Well, I'll tell you why. Because over the weekend, Crystal Palace won the English FA Cup. What is the FA Cup, if you don't know? Well, it's a tournament that goes on during the season in the English Premier League, and teams all the way from the bottom of the soccer pyramid, from the smallest local clubs all the way up to the giants of Liverpool and Chelsea and Manchester United and Manchester City, get to compete for one trophy. And Crystal Palace, who, yes, they're a Premier League side, but they're currently in 12th. They won the English FA Cup over the weekend. And that's why I love the English soccer system, because much like what they're trying to do with the U.S. Open Cup, where Union Omaha has gone up and beaten MLS clubs a couple of times, it doesn't start low enough for me. We need to get this all the way down to the semi-pro teams who can qualify and play in the Open Cup, because the FA Cup is one of the best sporting events that happens every year in the world of sports. The World Cup, for me, is the best. The FA Cup is the best year-to-year sporting event.
Crystal Palace is the name of the meth hotel in Breaking Bad. Dan, what's your hot take tonight?
Speaking of the FA Cup, do you know actually what the slang for the FA Cup in England is, John? It's the freaking awesome cuppy.
No, it isn't.
No, it's not.
No, they don't say that.
True. Yeah.
What's Dan? You lose. One thing before you get started,
we don't need to.
I want to give a shout out to one of our longtime night shift members, Cap. His mom, Miss Donna, is visiting for Texas, so shout out to Miss Donna.
Let's go, Donna!
Hope you're enjoying your
shout
visit.
Out to Miss Donna. Hopefully your travel's going safe, because it's not looking great outside.
Well, we're
trash
inside,
take,
so it doesn't matter.
My trash take. Hey, USGA, open up the investigation. Tell me exactly what you found wrong with Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler's drivers this week. Allegedly, it is due to face thinning, because Scheffler on tour, obviously, when you play golf, you hit a lot of balls, both in-game and during your practice. used his driver for about a year. So maybe there was a little bit of face thinning. But I would like an explanation from you, USGA, because if you don't know, Scotty and Rory both, they bag TaylorMade clubs. So I would like to know, is this an issue with just the TaylorMade drivers? You seem to have a problem with just these two people during your entire PGA Championship weekend. And I know testing is random and also happens at will to whomever you think it may need to happen to. But open up the books and tell us why their drivers were non-conforming.
Logan, trash take?
I've been thinking about this one for all of 2 minutes now, but I do feel like
a long time.
Yeah, I know.
It's about Dan's attention span length. See what I mean? See what I mean? What do you got for us?
I mean, this might not be even that controversial of a take, but I hate, and I don't use the word hate that often, but I'm using it strongly in this one. I hate the fact that we're talking about super conferences in college sports. I hate it. I don't like where this conversation has gone, and I feel like that we need to do something to fix this terrible system we have called the NCAA. And I know for a fact that's not a hot take, but the hot take to me is we got to do something about all this conference realignment. And the only way to do that is to force it. Maybe we pull an Ohio legislature move and sue every single conference for not getting what we want. And if that means putting Nebraska back in the Big 12 or recreating the Big 8, whatever we got to do, fix these conferences.
Hey,
Yeah.
You know what that is, Logan?
What?
That's the super conference.
Yeah.
That's exactly where I was going with this. I think unfortunately the only way to fix it and put it back the way it was is you have to break it first, right?
Yeah.
You've got to find a way to make college sports regional again. And with the way everything is shaping up right now with dollars and TV revenue, it's just never going to happen again until you can get everybody under one umbrella and manage it that way, in my opinion.
Yeah, it doesn't look like there's a good way forward with the current status quo.
It's just impossible, especially with sports that aren't football. We're going to get out of here. We may have to kick it over to our friends at KETV. There are black skies rolling into the Omaha metro area tonight. If you're with us tonight, hopefully you're staying safe. And again, shout out to Miss Donna and Cap. Hopefully you guys are having safe travels up into the Omaha area, and be safe if you're out and about listening to the sound of our voice. If you joined us tonight, we appreciate it. Check out our show tonight at soundcloud.com/after hours 1620. It was brought to you by Allo Business. If you have a managed service provider that's not giving you phone solutions, maybe they don't even have TV options, Allo Business is here for you. Head over to allobusiness.com. You're going to get a local 24/7 support staff that can answer your business questions and needs right here in Nebraska. For Logan Mosley, Dan Campen, and John Schreiner, I've been Jimmy Allen. Happy National Devil's Food Cake Day.
I want 666 pieces.
Hey, everybody, it's Jimmy Allen here for our friends at Paul Davis Restoration. Listen, the storms are rolling in as we're speaking. And if you're about to have the worst night of your life, you need to have a phone call ready to go that you can count on. And that's Paul Davis. They're going to come out. They're going to fix any damage done to your house by a storm, whether it be water damage, whether it be fire damage. Maybe mold starts to build up after water starts seeping into the house. They can help out with all of that. Restore your home to the way it was before tragedy strikes. Call 402-553-0373. Work with Paul Davis tonight.